Oh, hi. You caught me reading a cookbook again. I am Trista. Welcome to my kitchen. And I love reading lots of retro and vintage cookbooks from cover to cover. So we are on an adventure to try all the recipes that I find interesting in these books. And today it is from New Microwave Oven Cooking Guide, and we are going to make a very fancy Mexican mocha. So let's get into the ingredients here. Let's go over what we are going to use to make our Mexican mocha from the 1972 book, In the Microwave. So first we have 3 cups of whole milk. We have some milk chocolate bars. There's about 3 ounces or 3 kind of regular milk chocolate bars. I actually used some leftover Halloween ones here and just kind of broke them up a bit. And I actually took the almonds out of the almond milk chocolate bars just because I thought, well, we don't want almonds in our drink. And so then we have basically, I took a couple packets of decaf instant coffee and put them here. It's roughly the 2 teaspoons that it calls for. Each pack equals about a teaspoon, more or less. If you want to do a regular one that's has a little more kick, you might want to use some instant espresso, which I would normally do during the day, but this is for the evening, so I'm using a decaf instant coffee here. Then we have cinnamon. Now, the original recipe only calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon, which I think is a little stingy, and I like spices, so this is my personal preference in putting in more, a 1/2 teaspoon. And then we have a 1/2 cup of water. And then it suggests using almond extract for the whipped cream on top. So I'm going to show you how I like to make a whipped cream that we're going to pipe on top. So let's get right into it. I have my chopped chocolate here. I'm actually going to divide it between these 2 ceramic pie pans. It says to use a casserole. You can use anything microwave safe, but I'm actually going to make 2 batches, kind of dividing the ingredients in half, because I'm going to make one with the decaf and one without any coffee for my son, just like a Mexican hot chocolate. So let's just put the chocolate, kind of divide it up into 2, put that in the casseroles, and we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of water to each of these. That will go along with the chocolate and melt in the microwave. So let's do that. Okay, so we're gonna melt that for about 45 seconds in the microwave before we stir in the milk. So I'll be right back to show you what that looks like. So this is the chocolate and water after 45 seconds in the microwave. You can see it's melting just a little bit and it's pretty steamy. So let's add in the milk. So the next step is to add the milk, the instant coffee or espresso powder, and the cinnamon. So of course, because I'm doing the hot chocolate version, I'm gonna put in about 1/2 the milk. You may wanna do the whole thing if you're just doing the mocha. And I think this is a really fun way to make your own kind of fancy coffee house drinks at home. And it saves money and it's really fun to do. So this is a great way of having a fun evening activity and drink with your family. What are your favorite coffee drinks or hot chocolate drinks or any hot drink in the winter or the fall? I would love to know. I also really love tea, so when I'm home, I'm making lots and lots of tea. And I love chai. I love anything with a lot of spice to it. I also like to make a lot of homemade chai at home. So I mixed this up a little bit and it's looking nice. So the original says to microwave this for about 8 to 9 minutes. Because it's about half, let's do 4 minutes on that. So this is a very steaming hot Mexican hot chocolate mixture in the microwave. It has been in here for 4 minutes, so it's super hot, but it looks and smells delicious. So in just a moment, let's get our whipped cream ready and we can make our fancy drinks out of the microwave. All right, so let's make our whipped cream to top our delicious Mexican mochas and Mexican hot chocolates. So I have a cup here of heavy cream. This is so delicious. And I like to use powdered sugar in here because it helps the whipped cream stay really stable and look really pretty when we pipe it on top of the drinks or any desserts. So I have a cup of heavy cream, 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, and then I'm going to follow the recipe and put some almond extract. I will put 1 kind of larger teaspoon. Aren't these teaspoons pretty? I love to use that one when I want kind of extra flavor because it's a little larger. So I'm going to use the hand mixer here to get this whipped up. Whipped cream is all ready. It's nice and thick, so it'll be a great piping consistency. And I like to use these reusable kind of cloth piping bags. And I just put the kind of a star tip down in the center there, and then use a spatula to fill it up. Let's get all that yummy whipped cream in there. I love how fancy whipped cream topped drinks look, and it feels kind of fancy to do it at home. This would be a really nice treat to serve guests at the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, any occasion. So I filled up the piping bag. There's a tiny bit of whipped cream left in here that I'm going to get in there in a moment. But we want to use our hand to kind of squish it down to the bottom, so then it will start piping, as you can see. So you want to squeeze up at the top to get it to pipe at the bottom. Alrighty, I will be back to get our drinks assembled here. So this is what our Mexican mocha looks like. It's formed a little skin on the top because it's sat there just a minute or two. So I'm going to use a whisk to get it nice and blended before we put it into our cups. And I realized that we could also use a glass measuring cup to do this process in. Might be not quite as easy to mix in, but I bet we could. So I'm just going to give that a good whisking. Okay, my new choice of cups is much better. I should have listened to the recipe. It said small cups. So these are the same beautiful pattern, but more like a teacup. because these servings aren't huge, which is totally fine. So let's pipe some delicious whipped cream on the top of these. I don't do this often, so let's see how pretty we can get it. That looks pretty good. Let's get the other one. Tends to kind of want to dip down into the bottom of the cup, but that's totally fine. Those look really pretty. Let's just dust it with a little bit of cinnamon. That looks gorgeous. Alrighty, I'm gonna show you what the cup looks like from the other direction in a moment, and then we'll give this a taste test. I just wanted to show you how pretty this looks. It looks like a gorgeous restaurant drink that we made here at home in the microwave, amazingly. I think this looks spectacular, so I'm excited to taste it with my family and get my son's opinion of the hot chocolate version. So it just goes to show there are amazing treasures in these very old books. I found this one, or my cousin actually found it for me at an antique mall. So I'm always on the lookout for things like this. This was just something that came with your microwave back in 1972, and there are a lot of delicious things in here. Some of them don't look quite as great as others, the recipes, but that's why I love to read through these, because I can kind of discern which ones are going to be yummy and which ones perhaps not. I usually try the ones that I know are going to be pretty good as far as I can tell. So let us do a family tasting and see how these drinks are. The family is here to try out the Mexican Mocha and Mexican hot chocolate.
Yeah.
From the microwave. Let's see how it is.
All right,
And it has,
to the brim.
yeah, it has almond whipped cream too. Mmm.
That's pretty good.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Delicious, yeah.
Think it's enough cinnamon, not too much?
I like the cinnamon.
Oh,
It tastes
yeah.
really good.
Get that nice cinnamon flavor. Yum.
I'd approve.
Fantastic. I love it too.
Top notch.
Awesome. And we all have whipped cream mustaches
Oh, yes, we
forming,
do.
so that is great news. Thank you. That's the sign of a good drink.
That's for sure.
Cheers to that.